When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Hello everybody and welcome to tonight's coverage of the second race of the second round for the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series. This evening we're excited to bring you coverage of all the action from iRacing's virtual Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park in the state of Indiana. Tonight's broadcast will cover both races that occur simultaneously during our picture-in-picture format thanks to our talented team here at Maconi Entertainment. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you action from all types of racing. Play the weekly Maconi Fix Series. No matter what you're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince, alongside the booth for tonight's action, Brandon Laster. Ron Mons also to join us here in place of Dylan Coyle for this evening's festivities. Christian Hill and DJ Lyon are our producers tonight. Shane Mundy will be handling social media for our coverage of the second round 2024 RTP campaign. Lots to talk about tonight, but first things first, before we get into our discussion, I'd like to remind you tonight's action brought to you in part by iRacing. Ride-On is a training tool by countless professional drivers. iRacing is unrivaled. It's a racing simulator because its creators have managed to capture every car and lap track detail and recreate them in a package that perfectly encapsulates the feeling being behind the wheel of a race car, pushing its mechanical limits and testing each driver's skill sets, and the industry agrees. Visit iRacing.com to become a member today. Reminder as well, tonight also brought to you in part by Maconi Setup Shop, the official setup shop of eNASCAR and series sponsor for the Maconi Fix Series for the trucks and their fixed weekly races. That brings us into our discussions tonight as Braden. So far, we've seen, well, interesting times to say the very least this campaign. More than 1,000 entrants from round 1 down to just 70 for the first time around a couple of weeks ago. Now, tonight, what should we expect to see and what should fans know about this series who didn't catch our season opener about a month or so ago?
Yeah, going back to that season opener at Chicago and race number 1 around number 2, Connor Yarosek and Eddie Kerner took home the victory. You see the schedule there. You mentioned that over 1,000 drivers took place in round 1. You saw the schedule there. It's graded on the left side of the screen. And from those 1,000 plus drivers who took the top 70 in points, we're going to say, hey, we're going to split the guys into 2 rounds using a snake format. So the highest iRating ranked driver actually offered a point system. Their end of season points from round 1. The highest ranked driver in points is going to be the number 1 driver in round number 2, race number 1, or split number 1, and then split number 2 for those races with the second highest ranked driver, so on and so forth. So it's a very even field. You're not really going against the top top of the best, and the worst of the guys that made it. See the points there. They're split, as we mentioned, 2 different splits per race weekend. And we're on a short track. These are our shortest track on the season. We're on the schedule for round number 2, the longest track lap-wise. And definitely going to be a race of attrition that's all about survival.
Connor Eurocheck and Eddie Carter led the way with victories. The top 20, as you can tell, with the snake split, essentially if you finished in the top 10, you're in the top 20 for the time being, going down to 27 points. That's going to see a lot of shuffling as a result of the racing tonight. Some of the notables up there include Trevor Huff, who showed some good experience, along with Brandon Hawkin, now being the bubble driver, coming into tonight with Chad McGinley. Now, talking about this racetrack, Braun, I go to you because we're here just in the shadows of Indianapolis. This should be an interesting one with a lot of history here.
Oh, it is going to be a fantastic race. IRP synonymous with all different sorts of weird and bizarre history. My mind harkens back many, many moons ago to when the Fastmaster series ran here. Some people watching this stream here with Maconi Entertainment may remember that series from many, many moons ago. But IRP is a classic, and this small little oval, only 0.68 of a mile long, can put on some pretty good racing. You've got some variable banking thrown in as well, creating a little bit of strategy for these drivers to try and keep in mind heading into the races that we have for you this evening. So I think, from my perspective at least, really looking forward to the racing that we're going to have in store for you tonight.
It should be a fun time, and remember, with this format for tonight, it's a newer style when it comes to our broadcasting format. Our second time in this series, debuting it, where we'll be covering both the races simultaneously, alternating the coverage between the 2 races tonight. The currently featured split will be in the larger portion of your screen for most of the night. Bottom right will show the other broadcast feed throughout portions of this evening. Coverage will switch during any cautions or notable action this evening to give you, the viewers, a chance to see the best of the best in both of these races tonight. Now, we do have a video-only feed if you're interested in that for the second race. That's on the Maconi Entertainment YouTube if you so choose to go that direction. But tonight's directions all set to go to the starting grids. Let's take a look at how they'll start things tonight. 2 different splits of grids to go through for a day race here at IRP. Split 1 on screen. Agno Phillips setting the pole time tonight for this split. He starts alongside James Wentzel, both of them in the 21.5s. Eddie Kerner and Will Cooley in the top 4. Michael Frisch will start alongside Matthew Pappy, Logan Clampett, and Andrew Navarro. The top 8 this evening. Your top 10 featuring Crowder, Jackson Crowder, and Justin Smith. Ron.
And then moving through the rest of the field, we've got Michael Baumgartner starting this race in 11th in that number 28 car. Johnny Alvilla is going to be starring in that Toyota in P number 12. Very, very close to having the car number 12 starring in P number 12, but nevertheless, we have Robbie Verbrail starting this race in 13th in the number 21 truck. Matt Denson is going to be starting this race in 14th. Connor Euroshek, I probably butchered that pronunciation. He's going to be starting this race in 15th. Garrison Hogan going to be starting in 16th. Mitchell Hunt in 17th. Dustin Johnson in P number 18. And then looking at the 10th row. Do we have a 10th row for this race? Yes, we do. It's Matthew Morton and Jack Mace rounding at the top 20.
Daniel Landler, Daniel Nanny back there, Ethan Lane also back there with Spencer Burns deep in the field of those who qualified. Santi Tiros, Chad McGinley, along with Nick Miller, Logan Hilton, Matt Cucker, and Joshua Ballett, the top 30. The rest of your qualifiers: Blake McCandless, Ashton Slice, Ashton Crowder did not set a qualifying time. Caden Rush did the same thing, and Brad Wright, also a non-time putter for this first split. Drivers still making their way to their starting grid. Split number 2, by the way, had a very interesting qualifying session, believe, as well.
Yeah, split number 2 here. You mentioned that 21.5 in split number 1. Split number 2 is going on match with Christopher M. Hill matching in 21.5, like I just mentioned. Brian Mercurio, very tight 400s off of Hill. It's time to start outside front row. Christopher Pfeffer, 3rd. Quentin Warman, 4th. Carson Bowers, 5th. David Schildhouse, driver that didn't even expect to make it in round 2, starts at the top 10. Channing Bahu in 7th. Dalton England, 8th. River Hayes in 9th. And Michael Van Abel, 10th. And the rest of the field qualified. We'll talk about them throughout as the night goes on, but we're getting ready to go green flag racing in about a lap and a half.
Both splits, in fact, about to get ready to go racing in about a lap so time. Braden, I'll go back to you. Your keys to victory for tonight.
Yeah, I think you got to be there at the end. No fast pairs. There is a DQ limit after 25 instant points and a penalty at 17. You got to watch those bumpers, you got to watch those 4Xs, and you got to survive.
What are your keys, Ron?
I think Brain touched on them very well. Just keeping a calm head on your shoulders and making it to the checkered flag. As they say in the world of racing, to finish first you have to finish. And this massive race with a whole lot of trucks in this tiny little track, I think just making it to the checkered flag is going to be a big, important factor.
We're happy to have you with us here on iRacing social media platforms. RTP Round 2 action, all from IRP. Split 1 about to get underway on a very hot track. We're underway here from Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park. Split number 2 about to get kicked off in the bottom corner of your screen. Green flag is out there. Both splits are underway side by side.
They're mentioning side-by-side action. That's the name of the game all around. 70 drivers, 2 by 2 throughout both fields. And so far, one green flag lap underway. They're doing a lot better. Got one on the apron, though.
Able to hold on to it, it looks like, though, as both splits try to work simultaneously. Your timing pylon is for split 1. It's on the left side of your screen, by the way. Phillip already single-filed out. Michael Frisch trying to wrap the bottom, though, in the 3. Able to slot up and clear by Wenzel, already back to 4th.
That's sitting there looking at the field. Split 1, a little not as chaotic as split 2. Top 2 or 3 guys single file, top 7 or 8, split 1 all single file here. So far, everyone's playing it calm for the most part, but you wouldn't really think we're at a short track. I mean, no one's really using the front bumper or the chrome horns.
Yeah, and this is a racetrack, Ron, where in a lot of circumstances, track position is king. Track position can be so critical if you want to perform well in a race like this.
Yeah, really, track position is huge. You know, my background mainly in broadcasting comes from road course racing, where track position can be huge and that sort of stuff, but oval racing, an entirely different beast. Track position can be key for some very good reasons, just being able to keep the speed and not be hindered by anyone in front of you.
Caution, we have a stack up in turns 1 and 2 in split 1. Involved Ashton Slice, Chad McGinley, Dustin Johnson, and more. And we're under yellow for the first time here tonight as they get themselves regathered. Split 2 still racing along, but a fair amount of drivers picking up some contact there all of a sudden, Braden.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to have these types of instances at short tracks. I mean, IRP isn't really a track to think of as single groove. It's one of the more well-known short tracks are having a multi-groove track. But this early on, you don't want to lose out on optimal position. So you try to shove a bumper in there, make a pass that might not quite stick. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see here. Meanwhile, in split 2, Christopher Hill started up front in center, and he's definitely in command. Almost a second advantage over Christopher Pfeffer and Brian Mercurio running out your podium.
They're still going on laps 2, mind you. It looks like a lot of people have to pit. Here's a look at why we're under caution, Ron. And this was something that was expected if you followed along with the officials last week. Contact up the road causes stack-ups.
There's pretty much no room. A big one happening here at IRP. Small little stack up happens in front of you. Someone ends up in the wall, and at that point, you have nowhere to run or hide if you're any of these drivers. Here's another angle of it following the 12, who got a punt heading into turn number 1, backs it hard into that outside safer barrier, and then it's just a huge pileup with trucks really having no place to run or hide. Nowhere to go here at IRP. That is unfortunate for all the drivers to get involved in an incident so early on into this race. We weren't even at lap 10 when we had that incident happen in split 1, definitely throwing a big wrench in the works for that race.
Yeah, you got to finish. You mentioned there, finish and finish strong. I mean, you can afford to knock a front bumper off your JP, but obviously it's not going to be optimal if you knock your toe in, knock the camber out, and you have an ill-handed truck at a track like this. It's not going to be fun. 110 plus laps.
Now, speaking of the trucks involving Altus, still led by Hill. Looking at some of the other drivers, they worked around the mid-pack. The Nexus machines didn't get as good of qualifying runs as some may expect after their statement to start off at Chicagoland. Jake Matheson He's all the way back at 13th right now.
That's a driver you really didn't think would be that far back, especially that it seems that those guys are really good at the short track. Speaking of someone that's not really good at the short tracks, or is really good at the short tracks, but not having a good night tonight, Rocky Boyd, the third, currently the last place driver in split number 2, actually rocking a Brayton Laster paint scheme, so give him a little shout out there. So 1 lap down already, 10 laps in. I don't know if he had connection issues or what, so he's working his way up through the field, trying to get that lead lap back, and kind of Sunday cruising for now. Wait until it costs.
We are coming up to a restart in the bottom corner of your screen, by the way, as this is the look to Rocky Boyd III you were talking about there. Different look for him tonight, we'll touch upon in a moment, because split 1 is coming to green. Green, 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 back to racing, and not a great launch for Kerner, already to second is Frisch.
Oh, that was a terrible restart for the drivers running in the outside line. All sorts of squirrely and stacked up at the very beginning at this track. That can be huge, but as we start getting these laps under green, drivers are going to find their own groove. They're going to find their comfort zones and figure out what kind of line they want to run in. As I mentioned at the very open of this broadcast, progressive banking a big part of racing at IRP, whether it be in the sim or in real life, and we're starting to see some drivers try and experiment with some different lines in both splits.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot tonight so far, running a lot of people using that second groove, if not third groove. Not as many using the wall compared to the fixed race, where using the wall was a good defense mechanism. But quick way to touch upon what's going on in split 2 involving Rocky Boyd III's truck alongside Max Brady there. You had a bit of a storyline you created, Braden, involving 3 of the trucks tonight in the field, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're supposed to be running with your face on them.
Well, that's even better. That's what's so great about the storyline. That's not Rocky Boyd next to Max Brady. That's Trevor Huff rocking the same paint scheme, though, as Rocky Boyd. They're both in a Brayton Laster-inspired truck paint scheme. That is the scheme we called hashtag Cheese Flames, and it's inspired off of or it's a copy of my real-life 2022 Knoxville truck race debut, when I made my truck series debut in the NASCAR then Camping Road Truck Series at Knoxville, and finished a respectable 27th. And they're running that scheme there. They got my face on the hoodie, got my face on the deck lid, and then Jack M. Mace there over there in split number 1 has my face on his spoiler. So a lot of Brayton Laster faces to be seen tonight throughout the field.
Lots of virtual ones, yes indeed, as still keep an eye on what's going on across the field. Right now, looking at some of the onboards, in fact, a lot of separation with those involved in the incident. Mace was one of them. That's why he's so far back compared to some of the others. Now, single file racing for the time being. Track position is a virtue, and it looks like right now it could be tricky to get the track position with the way it's looking. The top line has not clicked at all, Ron.
No, it's not really materializing for any of these drivers. They're starting to get a bit closer to that wall, though. However, they're still, at this stage, though, with that early caution we had, some of these drivers may just be thinking, hey, I want to put my nose to the grindstone and I want to whittle away the laps. There's no point racing side by side and battling really hard with 103 laps to go in this race. Just try and whittle away the laps. That is huge in this race, and that is the main reason why I think we're seeing the drivers running single file for the most part at the front. I think we have a side-by-side battle for P3 as it stands at the moment, and as I mentioned, that is single files out at the start of lap number 18. But Brain, I do have a question for you, considering you are covering a race that has multiple trucks with your own face on it. Would you say you're a teeny tiny bit biased towards them, or no?
Well, I love watching them up front and center, and they're not quite up front. Trevor Huff working his way through the field, and Rocky Boyd trying to get that lead lap back, like we mentioned. And I might be a little biased, but I think they're really good-looking trucks, and I think the hood, my face on it, we're going to have so much face in the truck, it might as well be mine.
Well,
Amen.
For the time being, yeah, you were saying wrong.
Yeah, I just said amen. I can't really say anything else against that. Amen.
All you can say is, I believe, yeah. Well, caution flag is out in split 1 again. This one towards the back of the main group. Nathaniel Landwehr has gone around in the 30 truck in session, with contact with Santiago Tires for our second yellow of that session.
I think if he had my face on his hood, he would have been A-okay.
There you go. That's a nice safety measure that unfortunately was not on that number 68 truck. Hopefully we can find a replay to see exactly what happened here. Another incident again heading through turn number 1 and 2 here, JP. I wonder if that's going to be the real trouble spot in this split one race.
Seems to be, especially with drivers wanting to clear on by, but we'll see what that looks like in a moment. Here it is.
Ooh, oh, contact. Oh, big contact coming out of the corner with the number 14 truck. We were expecting maybe a little bit of a spin all on his own accord. That was definitely not all on his own accord. What do you think, JP?
Yeah, that looked like a little bit of column A, column B with the squeeze, maybe.
Yeah, you saw that 14 truck shove it up in there, and it looked like he got the worst damage out of that. Front bumper knocked off, mentioned too. That's not huge, a little bit of body contact there to the front of the truck versus the track like Daytona, like Homestead, like Chicagoland. But hitting the wall of that right front tire is going to be huge. David Schulthouse, also one of the drivers to not have hit the wall so far tonight. He's got a beautiful truck. I hope he doesn't. We mentioned his storyline coming in. He's kind of ran the round 1 Road to Pro for fun. A very avid streamer here on the platform. Doesn't really run too competitively. And before he knew it, he was making a round 2. He was one of the last drivers to make it in a round 2. He was very surprised, very shocked. And we started inside the top 10 and still running the top 10 here in split number 2 tonight.
Yeah, he's got good backing too with NFR over the season so far. Going to be a very interesting truck to watch. Same for Nate Stewart. He's got some powerful backing. Has raced a lot in the Toyota GR Cup for the North American side as well as of late with some good runs there. Just getting boxed in a little bit in the 20s for the time being.
And definitely, you don't want to sit there and be stuck. Nate Stewart stuck behind one of the Brayton Lasser trucks. Trevor Huff. I think he admires my face. That's what it's got to be. He loves seeing my face back there. He's like, man, I can't pass Brayton Lasser's face.
Well, he is trying different lines to do so. This is a track, though, that if you notice with some of the different lines, you can send it in deep, get a diamond, but the second you lose that grip on from the rears right about here, it's hard to be able to maintain the line and the speed when you just can't get it to grip up. Ron.
Oh, it is a razor-thin margin that these drivers are trying to use. You can't go into the corner with too much speed, otherwise you're just going to end up in the barriers and completely scraping the right side of your race car. But at this stage, these drivers are managing it quite well. Besides the 2 incidents we've had in split number 1, split 2 has been very clean, and they are still battling hard as we have a fight side by side with the number 9 truck going side by side on that inside line. And right as I say that, we see a driver end up in the wall. Small little kiss coming after number 2.
Yeah, the outside in this circumstance at the very least, enough for the green and black Nexus truck. Nearly clear on by, but not fully yet. Now, there is the matter of pit stops. It's a one-stopper on gas to make it to the end here, Braden.
That's something we're going to have to watch. So far, split 2, they've done about 10 or so more laps in split number 1. So that's thanks to there's no cautions we've had so far in split number 2, knocking on wood. And a big part of that is I think the single file action throughout the field. You got to go back to about 20 to find someone side by side for most of the lap. And that's Kevin Champagne and David Brown, I believe, those drivers that we saw having that side-by-side battle there for a little bit. Now riding on board of Blaze Crawford, trying to get a piece of this action, trying to shove it too wide himself. But there's just not a whole lot of side-by-side action throughout most of either field.
Well, we are side-by-side in one box at least because of the restart that just happened. Agno Phillip, once again, in control. It's been a very strong run for him. Eddie Carter slots himself up for third. Jackson Crowder getting very tight, though, with the side of Conti's truck. Around the Conti truck of Clampett.
It's one of the more cleaner restarts you've seen tonight. The field able to keep it going straight through the backstretch. Restarts prove a great passing ground, or great opportunity ground to make up passes. You can pass 2 or 3 trucks in one corner. You're not having to spin, 5 or 6 steps, setting up one pass you have to do at tracks like IRP. So you're going to see a lot of full center after a restart.
A lot of respect being shown by both of those racers in the side-by-side. It's a lot of squeezing, though, with what we're looking at. Clampett, you can barely fit a paper between him and the wall in this battle as Crowder now goes in line. Looking like they're single filed out for the time being. Wrong so far. Back to standard programming, to a calm restart yet again in terms of what we see once we get a couple laps down.
Well, I think knowing our luck thus far, we may have possibly jinxed it, and we could be seeing a yellow come out in the not-too-distant future. These drivers are still racing hard, though, as you said, JP, when we were riding on board with that number 24 truck, going side by side and battling and scraping and clawing for every position that they possibly could. Lots of drivers up and down this field have just a matter of inches separating themselves and the car right next to them. 3 wide coming out of turn number 4. I don't think so, gentlemen. They're still trying to make it stick. Hey, of all the short tracks that you could possibly run at Brain, I guess IRP is the only one where you could really go 3 wide around the entirety of the racetrack as they're nearly crashing coming out of turn number 2.
Yeah, one driver there getting in the wall, and I actually ran in the ARCA race of this track just this past Friday night, scored a 19th place finish, and that's something that I was really amazed about. We weren't in as good or equal equipment as most of the field, but we were still able to make up passes, make up ground in the corners, run a different line that's more comfortable with my car and my driving style, and make up time on a little bit better cars, a little bit better drivers that way. And so that's something I think a lot of drivers love about IRP is you can run side by side the entire lap. The burn off won't really be that drastically compared to someone running the top entire lap versus running the whole bottom. And it's definitely a driver's track though. You gotta be able to make passes, you gotta be able to make them stick, and they can see side by side throughout most of this field right here in split 1 halfway back.
Will Cooley's starting to scrape the wall though in the midst of all this. He's right now almost giving a lot of space, almost too much to Lane, of how he's been able to drive this out here. A lot of give and take being showcased though outside of that. That seems to be the thing, Ron. You don't want to make enemies through the rest of round 2.
Oh, absolutely not. Considering the stage that we're at in this season and the stage that we're at in this race, you don't want to make enemies. We're only 34 laps in. We have a whole lot of time left to go in this split 1 race. You don't want to be roughing someone up at this stage because there is still a whole lot of time for them to get back to your rear bumper and use you up just as much as you use them up. So at this stage, really, you gotta be a little bit of a diplomat in a way. You can't race everybody as hard as you possibly can. You're still not going to give a quarter out there on the racetrack, but so early on into this race, you don't even want to think about running a driver into the wall, running them up the track, or giving them the chrome horn. At this stage, you just have to be a diplomat.
Keep an eye, Kenny Rush, one of his battles going on screen. You see him running the top there. So far, he's had ups and downs in terms of the runs, but tonight, trying to throw back to one of the KHI trucks, like Kevin Harvick's paint schemes from the Truck Series from the 2000s for this campaign.
I see him up quite a few spots, about 18 or so since starting to, start almost dead last on the drivers that didn't take a qualifying time. Correct me if I'm wrong there, JP. Up 18 spots inside the top 20, trying to get inside the top 15. He's a driver that needed one of those good runs. We talked about the top 20 in points. That's a very important number. We went from 1,000 to 70. After 6-7 races here, we want to narrow it down to 20. Top 20 from Road to Pro round 2. We'll join the bottom 20 from the Coke Series, and then we'll have our Contender Series there, and those guys, then we'll take the top 20, correct me if any of this is wrong here, Justin, and then we'll take the top 20 from Contender, and that will make up your 40 car field, joining the other remaining 20 drivers from the Coke Series the previous year. Kenny Rush came into the night 45th in points, so he needs to make up a lot of points. He needs to start right now.
Didn't have to graze the finishes to start the season at Chicagoland, but right now is in the midst of some of the battles with the 19 of Daniel Nanny. He's one of the Ryko trucks, in fact, that's trying to figure out something, because we haven't seen any of those trucks so far up at the front from that team. He's found something different. He's almost taking the New Hampshire line on the apron to be able to gain time. He just passed Rush. Now might have a move in hand for Cucker.
You see him literally almost a lane and a half lower than any other truck on corner entry. Washes up, runs the diamond line, gets the same drive off as everyone else, about pushing someone up into the wall. And I mean, he's making it stick. He's making a ton of time. You saw him move around that mid-pack battle, like he was standing still, picked off about a truck, a corner, and he's found something here.
It's had a lot of pace all of a sudden for this mid to long run, but it's not going to matter. Caution flag is out yet again. And it's our third in this split. Johnny Avila turn around from 13th something. Obviously broke on the 11.
See him rolling down there. Yeah, about got hit by the pace car.
Thankfully, the drivers would coast through that pace car. That would have been a very close call if this was in real life. Still a close call in this sim. I'm curious what happened, though. Again, another car involved in an incident in roughly the same part of the racetrack that we've seen already, and that car is all kinds of torn up as he hits the wall again. Possibly lost some steering. He may be towing it back to pit lane, and yes, he is. So I think that may be one of the first tows that we've had in this race. The first one that we've got on camera, at least, JP.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Again, the 11 to cause a caution. He wasn't side by side with anybody at the time. And right about there, something broke in the steering wheel. He said he couldn't turn it after this.
Then coming off of turn 2, going down into turn 3, and I'm sorry, coming off of turn 4, just poof, kablam, and yeah, luckily it doesn't roll up the track and hit someone. That's a scary deal, is when you don't have any steering or lose your brakes and you roll up into the traffic, and before you know it, getting T-boned by the rest of the field. And things are starting to heat up a little bit here in split number 2. Seems staggered 3 wide for a second coming off the corner there. Meanwhile, Christopher Hill, your leader, to show the difference between split number 1 and split number 2, Christopher Hill has caught lap traffic. Colton J. Harvey started 33rd, or sorry, started 29th, down to 33rd, and it's about to go 1 lap down, joining Rocky Board in the lap down club.
Yeah, it has been outright dominant pace now for Christopher Hill since he got the clean air to start from the pole. And now seems to be just being able to plant hot laps down. A lot of these trucks showcasing what you can do if you push too hard, though. A lot of trucks are tending to go loose, it seems, this week here, Braden.
Then see a battle there with David Shieldhouse and River Hayes under screen. Shieldhouse in the 20, Hayes down low in that 15 truck, and they're not getting the drive off. Shieldhouse is A-OK. River Hayes, though, having the pinch, or getting pinched off by David Shieldhouse. Definitely a little bit loose on the exit, tight in the middle, and that's just a characteristic of this track. I mean, it changes a bunch as the sun comes out, as the shade comes out, and that's something for these drivers are looking at here. It's just like real life. They say IRP changes by the hour, and let me tell you, it does.
And you know how far ahead they are? Like 10, 11 laps already is the difference. So, can tell you in split 1, a lot of people yet to take pit stops are going to be good to go on gas because the caution flag timing. Most of the field just pit down in the lower corner of your screen, including drivers like Carter, like Jackson Crowder, and Logan Clampett. This split that you're seeing in the big picture right now, they're going to have a flurry of green flag stops soon once they get past halfway, if not 50 or 40 laps to do this on the track. Big differences for the strategy games we're on.
Oh, huge differences in not only the strategy context, but just the way these drivers are. They have a good idea as to how their race trucks are driving. They've had a long green flag run. They're in the zone. They are into a groove, and they know what they have at their disposal. Meanwhile, in split number 1, actually, they just had a restart delayed, so it's going to be another time around for split 1 to get that race back underway for, was this the 3rd or 4th time, I believe, in split number 1. Much more disjointed in that first split compared to the second one. That is for darn sure, and just a whole lot of different challenges that these split 2 drivers are dealing with. Brain, they have to worry about green flag pit stops, and now as they approach the second half of this race, could you kind of like give us an idea as to what the different challenges these split 2 drivers are dealing with?
Well, let me tell you, you put 60 laps in the tires at IRP. I'm sure everyone cannot wait to come down, get some fresh rubber slapped on these trucks. I mean, these things weigh 3,400 pounds, and after 20 to 30 laps are a handful to drive, especially when you are stuck kind of running the bottom. You know, you mentioned tire degradation isn't that huge from bottom to top. You still want to manage them, though. So a lot of drivers, though, you have battles throughout the whole track. They were a single file the first 30, 40 laps, and now you have 2 by 2 by 2 almost throughout the entire field here.
Split 1 about to get a restart, by the way, as right now, they're double wide. Coming up to their 72 lap to go mark. Green flag is out. And yet again, Agnell Phillip is already clear.
Yeah, up quite a few spots. Some of these drivers are trying to take advantage, running the bottom 3 wide. They're coming off of turn 2. This might not work out. And so far, it's going to, though.
So the drivers who stayed out this caution code: Phillip, Frisch, Navarro, Nanny, Cooley, Burns, Hogan. And right now, those on Freshies, they're going 3 wide, heart of the field.
That's not going to work out to mix old rubber and new rubber. So far, they're able to keep it clean and keep it green. They're going to stack up a little bit. They're in the middle of the pack. Come off of turn 2. Still 3 wide. That's going to get tight contact between these drivers. Still more contact. You're playing bumper cars at this point. You might as well hot glue them together.
Oh, Eddie Kerner having a massive save. Huge contact with Jackson Crowder. Up into the wall goes the 08 Sauer Esports entry of Joshua Ballette. This is forcing 3 wide in the backdrop now. Kerner able to clear after a massive bobble and save.
See another driver trying to run that go-ahead around. Let you take it into the wall. Some of these drivers are taking it.
Oh, this is a hornet's nest of trucks right now. You can see just from the camera shot that we have of the Split 1 race, how many trucks is that in one single view? They've been going 3 wide through pretty much every single corner since we got the green flag back out not very long ago. These drivers are racing like it's a final lap of the race. We're still 8 laps away from even the halfway mark, Brain. These drivers are just pushing it to hell and back. I mean, from our perspective as broadcasters, it's pretty good to watch, but if you're one of these drivers, you're probably getting annoyed with a whole lot of your competitors as 4 wide coming at turn number 2, and it ends in tears with a spinner.
Yeah, talking about not going to work out, and for the 4th time tonight, I think Split 1 needs to have a lot of Brandon Astor faces on the hood. That's what they're missing. Split 2, we got the 2 Brandon Astor face trucks. Split number 1's not really matching the energy here.
Ethan Lane is the one who gets spun around with 3-4 wide off the corner. And we're under caution yet again in Split 1. And so, Split 1 is cautions breed cautions, it seems, with the way things are trending. You might end up being able to make it without pit stops with the way the cautions are fair enough for the front runners. But the fresh tires seem to be moving, as we've already seen with Carter, and a lot of the others who did not take 4, they got drop kicked before that caution. Split number 2 on screen again, though, Braden.
Yeah, things have calmed down a little bit here in number 2. Meanwhile, Christopher Hill continues to lap the field. He's got JT Poole lap down. He's got Rocky Ford lap down. Now Colton Harvey actually about to lap Nick Olsen in that Team Conti truck. And we're looking at a lot of drivers who are going to lap down beyond the point where you're going to need, a lot of caution because you have to get back on and lead lap. And I think, we're well past halfway point. Green flag pit stops are imminent.
In the 9 truck, really trying to wrap the bottom of all of this. You have Matheson also in the midst of this battle on screen. And it's going to be interesting, that pit entry here too, Ron. It is one of those where if you don't get good awareness on where you are going to have to go for the access road, it's easy to miss it.
Yeah, we could see a driver get that terribly, terribly wrong. We could very well see someone end up in the concrete barrier or possibly even the barrels at the pit attenuator. I feel like at this stage, as we still see some side-by-side action, which, hey, I mean, it's pretty much side-by-side all throughout the field in Split 2, even though we are very long into a green flag run. I have a question for the both of you. I'm curious, what are the chances we think that a driver ends up in the pit barrels at the end of pit lane?
Good question. I don't think it's as likely.
That's something that we didn't really expect to see tonight. Christopher Hill and lapping Nick Olsen. Olsen was adamant about not going to lap down. He doored Hill going down the back straightaway a little bit. Doored him going into turn 3. Hill came up a little bit, made a bit of contact there. So Nick Olsen trying to fight for a lead lap. Eventually, he's going to lose that lead lap advantage. And Christopher Hill is going to keep on passing cars, lapping cars. Chris over the next on a chopping block. And Hill is looking at a huge pack of 5-6 trucks here. Christopher Pepper still in second, over 3 seconds back.
Yeah, some outright dominant pace from him. Here's Nate Stewart, mind you, on the racetrack. Talked about him needing to get a move on from some of the positions he was earlier on towards the rear end of the field. Seems to be really picking up the tempo this run with how he's been able to get things working in clean space now. He is right now, Munstle's running amongst the midfield still, but the pace differential has been a major talking point. Top split right now, 2 drivers have been the fastest on track, Phillip and Kerner. It's been interesting how it's fared out with Hill running away in his split here, Braden.
Well, I think you have different tire stretches starting to come into play there too. You look at split 2, everyone's been green the entire run, but split 1, I mean, you have caution after caution after caution. Some guys pit, some guys don't pit, and it creates opportunity there.
Right now, Blaze Crawford in that battle in the lower corner, but the restart in the big box. Once again, back to green, and just about at the halfway point in the race. Agnell Phillip yet again clear. All of that's with Andrew Navarro trying different lines. Oh, in trouble, heart of the field, Smith around, and caution as they still crash under yellow.
Well, this has been a long night for split number 1 drivers.
Yeah, that was not a pretty one. Justin Smith, believe, was in that. Yes, Justin R. Smith. Offset 3 wide, can confirm part of the reasoning. Garrison Hogan, Matt Cucker amongst those involved.
I see Santiago Gutierrez, the 14 truck there. Finally got his front bumper back on. Not sure if he had much contact there. It was all coming off of turn 2, and we mentioned your restarts create ample opportunity to make up a ton of spots. You can pass 2 or 3 cars in one corner, you can make it stick versus having to spin 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 laps trying to set up one pass. So it's either get a 2 or a 3 for 1, and that's what happens.
Back to the battles meanwhile. Shieldhouse still having a very solid run here. Having a fight side by side on screen.
That's Brandon John Kohler, biggest driver, or as far as moving up through the field in split number 2, up 20 spots from 28th to 8th. Now give it 7th. He's going to get around David Shieldhouse. About gets loose, about gets turned to the wall. He is going to get turned to the wall. Brandon Kohler hard in the wall. They're going to keep it green. He's not too happy. Oh no, he is on the radio. He's, this is not going to end pretty. River Hayes, a little bit of contact. River Hayes about to get turned as well by Kohler. And things are heating up here in split 2, less than 40 laps to go.
Still yet to see pit stops, and boy oh boy, are they trying for a caution. Kohler need to let cooler heads prevail. Now over the back bumper of Hayes. Hayes getting loose. All of them get back in line as Kohler needs to regroup here. You can't let the rip miss build like we've already just seen start to build. Here's the reason for the caution. Split 1 lower corner on.
Yeah, just looking at it, it was some hard battling on that restart, going terribly, terribly wrong. A whole bunch of race trucks trying to fight for the same piece of real estate out there on the back straightaway. And Brain, you brought up a very good point when it comes to the restart chaos that we've seen in this split 1. You can see them still wrecking midway through 3 and 4. These drivers sense a very strong opportunity when it comes to these restarts to try and make up the spots. It is the closest the field is together at any single point in the race, so they try and make lemonade while they have lemons. But what I've seen with those drivers in split 1 is a lot of those drivers are trying to make 4 gallons of lemonade with only 1 lemon and a spoonful of sugar, and it just brings in the chaos that we've seen so far, Brian. That
definitely makes it a little tart there when you don't have the right ingredients and you're trying to make up for maybe a bad run or trying to compensate for a bad run. Hey, you fell off a little bit here, you got to restart, going to try and make up as many spots as I can. It just does not work out.
Hey, who doesn't like sugar water with the tinge of lemonade, I guess you can really say. But still, Kohler is in the midst of the side-by-side. Shieldhouse running away in the battle. They are starting to see other players join this fight, though, like 3 wide lap traffic. Some people have pits, such as the truck that just wrapped the bottom.
That was Tanner Love there in the 51 on the screen, or 31 in the sim truck, moving around. David Shieldhouse and company they're standing still. Chris Olvin also going lap down. So far, no one joining Tanner Love down pit road. I mean, we're at 35 laps to go. If you're going to come down now is as good a time as ever.
Do you think they might have saved or trying to clutch and coast a little bit maybe, just to stretch it to where it'd be like Well, fuel mileage for the race about to get a restart. We'll see.
It's gonna be a tough one to call for sure.
Restart in split 1. Already clear is Phillip. And yet again, Agnell Phillip doing perfect things right now. Navarro up to second though. Looking to try and get a clear on Frisch. Frisch in the NFR truck can't clear.
And working their way down to turn 3 and 4. Trying to make up some lost ground, maybe eager to get this race underway. I mean, look at split 2, we're on 30 laps to go. So 26 lap advantage over split 1. You guys can start seeing the guys in split 2 and like, man, I just want to race, or man, maybe I want to get turned in the wall.
Oh, a bit of contact. Navarro on some old rubber. Trying to get a move on with Kerner. Navarro forced the inside. Same being said for Caden Rush. He took 2 tires during his last pit stop. Gets drop kicked back. Kerner still working with Natty alongside.
Ooh, they made contact. That was definitely contact between those two coming through turn number 2. Even though we've had a whole batch of yellows during this split 1 race, these drivers are still racing as hard as they possibly can. I think I said earlier on in this broadcast that they're battling like it was the final lap of the race. We just barely ticked over the halfway mark, Brain. We're on lap. We have 53 laps to go at this point, but all these drivers still battling like it's a battle of wits. These drivers battling as hard as they possibly can, being and banging and roughing each other up. It has been an incredible race in both of these splits. Split 2 looking interesting, though. That's going to be a fantastic finish with green flag stops. Man, this is going to be fun.
You mentioned green flag stops. Tanner Love still 9 laps past his green flag pit stop. Still the only driver to have made a green flag pit stop. Is running outside the top 25 at the time. And let me tell you, I love this strategy by Tanner Love. He's over a second quicker than the next truck on the track, even 2 seconds quicker. Here comes the rest of the field starting to come down or trickle down pit road. Trevor Huff down pit road. So far, the only one in this time. A couple guys calling it out down the back straightaway though.
All sorts of battling still up for grabs right now. Nanny not willing to back off on a lot of these battles. Jackson Crowder also on fresher rubber though. Clears himself in the dead zone truck. Here comes Rush now. He's gotten some good rhythm now on the 2 tires. He seems to have gotten those right sides of temperature.
Speaking of right sides, Trevor Huff, he's mentioned him coming down pit road in split number 2. He took on the right side and a little bit of fuel. So far, no one else seems to be joining him down pit road, so some guys might be clutch and coasting here.
Yeah, that's getting interesting on the fuel strap with those drivers. Split 2 has just 25 laps to go, compared to the more than 40 in split number 1. And so right now, Nanny able to hold on in front of Rush. Take a look at some of the errors in mid-pack and back-pack. Lane contact. He puts Hogan in the wall. Caution flag is out again.
Oh no, brother. Hogan hard in the wall there, and that's going to put split number 1 and a torn up number 22 truck there. Hard damage. We talked about this race being about attrition and survival, but split number 2 is doing A-OK. Split number 1 so far, I think they're running out of tow truck drivers.
I feel bad for the iRacing mechanics and all of this stuff. They're going to be having to down Red Bull after Red Bull just to fix these race trucks. Man, this split 1 has been a madhouse so far in this race. I think the longest green flag run they've had up to this point is probably about 12 laps, and that streak continues, as you can see a replay in the bottom corner of the drama that happened in split number 1. Split 2, meanwhile, they're coming to 20 to go in the not-too-distant future. We've got that interesting strategy content with these drivers, possibly trying to save a little bit of fuel. I'm not really sure. What are the chances that one of these drivers can actually stretch it all the way to the finish? I feel like the chances of that would be exceedingly unlikely, but considering how dramatic the other split has been, we've seen stranger things so far tonight, haven't we?
Yeah, speaking of stranger things, I'm seeing double here in turn 1 and 2. Trevor Huff and Rocky Boy, the 2 Brayton Lasher trucks side by side. Huff, you mentioned a driver that just came down pitted, took those right sides, and comes out in front of Tanner Love, though, by about a straightaway. So I don't know if that was the difference on track before the pit stop, or just the right side tires. So a couple of different strategies. The entire field for the most part is yet to pit. A couple guys caught it out. They didn't actually come down though. So Christopher Hill has built actually not a huge lead, starting to lose a little bit, getting through lap traffic. Christopher Pfeffer within 2 seconds now.
That is a teammate, mind you, by the way. Pfeffer is in the midst of that Hornet's nest you see back there, though. That's going to cost him a fair amount of time compared to what Hill's been able to do. This would be a huge victory for Hill, though, if he holds on here. He has had a lot of ups and downs, to say the very least, this year. Round one had some extreme wild moments for the Altus trucks. Altus tonight putting down the gauntlet this split. Mercurio also doing very well.
Yeah, a lot of these Altus engineering trucks and esports trucks definitely making their way through the field and driving just a little bit better than the rest of the guys. You also got Quentin Warman back there too, a driver we saw a lot in round one, running fourth, just restarting. Carson Bauer started fifth, and he's still running fifth. So a lot of guys that started up front have stayed up front. Biggest mover still continues to be Brandon Kohler. He finally, knocking on wood, got around David Schildhouse a couple laps ago, so he's up over 20 spots to currently run 7th.
Right now, that traffic's starting to try and be cordial for the most part, too. But right now, still just 16 to go in the second split. The lead is shrinking here in lap after lap with how it's looking right now for Hill compared to the others on the racetrack. So his tires are starting to go off.
Now, looking at lap times last time by, Hill quickest of their staying out drivers at 23.561. Christopher Pfeffer at 23.569, so 0.8 of a difference. A couple guys actually crossing the line just now, 23.4s. They're way deep down in the pack. They're not going to really make up a whole lot of time. Those drivers looking to be like Brandon John Kohler, quickest car on the track right now. Channing Baloo currently running in 6th. 2 drivers still only on a different strategy, Trevor Huff and Tanner Love. Those drivers are the ones that have made a green flag pit stop. So I don't really know if they're good to go, but we're going to find out in about 12, 13 laps.
Let's put one back under green, by the way. Navarro trying to wrap the bottom this time. Not as easy of a restart for first compared to the previous ones. This time he has to fight. A lot of fighting also just alongside and behind him. Kerner heading the wall 3 wide as Clampett goes to the bottom.
Eddie Kerner, they're stuck in a 3-wide battle and not going to work out. They'll get the popcorn now and start popping it. Able to keep it going, though. I don't know how they made that stick, but I guess you guys are finally eager to race. Split number 2, getting ready to come to 10, 11 laps to go.
A lot of close racing around Kerner here tonight. It's been that sort of a night for Eddie Ball in that 98 truck on screen, 23 in sim. Some of the air battles swinging up. McCandless, he's trying to come his way to the field for 31st starting spot. He's that red and black truck right behind. And he's right now trying to battle with Justin R. Smith, who got nearly turned around a couple of cautions ago.
Got a lot of drivers eager to make up spots. You talked about it, restarts. See Blake McCandless there in that beautiful throwback style looking truck up by the wall, getting shoved almost into it. Staggered 3 wide from it and going through 3 and 4. Up quite a few spots. Still more contact there.
Yeah, that's from Euroshack, who has damage from some of that contact earlier. Doesn't seem hampered by it, though. Still less than 40 laps to go. More trouble. Ledward turned around hard of the field. Caution flag in split 1.
I think this might take us to the finish. I think this might take us to the finish in split number 2, but split number 1, man, I'm telling you guys, it's the lack of brake last trucks. That's got to be it.
And a lot of damage for some race trucks in that field, including Landwehr, who's lost the back TV panel again. It is 30 in sim. So those drivers that are yellow in split number 1 yet again. With how things have broken down tonight, Egno Phillips seems to be in control, should be good to go on fuel in split 1. Split 2, right now, Max Brady trying to fight things out to stay on the lead lap, it appears at least. Right now, Christopher Hill is just about in cruise control, 7 laps to go.
That 7 laps ago, just mentioned, going around Max Brady in that 23rd spot. So Christopher Hill has left over 10 trucks here tonight in a very dominant run. So far has led flag to flag, and the last thing you want to see now is a yellow flag and a caution or restart and give Pfeffer, Mercurio, or Warman a chance to try and steal one. The advantage right now, 2.666 at the line over Christopher Pfeffer, and no lap traffic really between them either, so he's going to have to gain quite a bit of time, Pfeffer is over the next 6 laps.
Santiago Gutierrez, by the way, involved in the contact in split 1, bottom corner of your screen of the replay. And yet again, it has not been a good night for the 30 truck.
No, not at all. See him 3 almost staggered 4 wide there, and that's why I have to try back out, maybe give someone some room, and you don't really hit the brakes, but you just aren't on the gas when everyone else expects you to be, and you kind of get drove through there, and that looks like exactly what happened there.
Looking, meanwhile, at what's big screen. Brendan Hawk is your fastest truck on the racetrack right now. But with 4 laps to go, he'll need a miracle, obviously, to get up towards the front, because Hill just needs to keep it clean for a couple more miles to come away with a round 2 W.
And Christopher Hill getting ready to put another truck a lap down. That's David L. Brown, the next esports machine, coming off of turn 4. So 4 laps to go, and they're 3 now. So Christopher Hill, like I mentioned, just on a Sunday drive. He's not even going to try to pass David Brown. He doesn't need to. He's got over 2.5 seconds over Pfeffer. I mean, at this point, he can clutch and literally coast around here to win. He probably still could.
So a couple more laps to go for Hill. He's put on an absolute clinic tonight at RTP. Green flags throughout the entire run in split 2. Since the drop of the green flag starting on the pole, his Altus truck has remained in full control. Pfeffer is closing in as right now Hill tries to roll the bottom, slow side. Can he make it on gas? Coming up to the white flag this time around, Pfeffer's within a straightaway.
Yeah, Pfeffer closing up big time. Hill might be out of gas here. Less than a second now. Coming off of turn 2, Christopher Hill still with that advantage. Pfeffer closing. He's not going to have a chance unless Hill runs out right here, right now. Checkered flag coming out now in front of the windshield of Christopher Hill.
Hill tries to wrap the bottom one more time. Pfeffer, he runs out of time. Christopher Hill stretches the gas tank, and he'll take the W at IRP.
0.2 of a second. Pfeffer made up over 2.5 seconds to shorten the gap there, just to 0.2, like I mentioned. These two drivers celebrating, having a little bit of fun. I don't know how low they were, but I am sure it was fumes.
A phenomenal run for Altus in split 2. They take a 1-2 finish here tonight. Split 1, they have 32 laps to go. That's a big difference with how the cautions have flown here tonight, as the Altus trucks may have just ran out of gas on the front stretch. Or almost.
Enough to do some burnouts.
Yeah, there you go. Got enough fuel to do some burnouts after the checkered flag. Hey, that's all you need at the end of the race. What do you say?
Oh! Contact right now in split 1. Justin R. Smith getting bullied around yet again. And the wrecking in the grass. No caution yet. We stay green. Mitchell Hunt amongst those turnarounds. Spencer Burns losing tons of ground as well.
A lot of guys definitely getting some damage, getting in the wall, and I mean, at this point, it's go time. I mean, less than 30 laps to go. You gotta make up as much room as you can, and ample opportunity to run a little bit fresher tires. Go for it.
30 laps to go. Of note, Agnell Philp also had his most challenging race lead battle yet. Frisch able to keep it alongside for a lap off the restart. The fight is on again for third. Eddie Kerner. Bit of contact with Navarro.
See them battling there. Navarro was one of the highest ranked drivers early in round 1. Fell off quite a bit. I mean, it was 3 or 4 finishes in a row where he had a podium finish and another 3 or 4 finishes. He finished outside the top 25. So Navarro try and get back to his former self, try and get back to victory lane. A little bit of contact won't get him there though.
A little bit of roughing and bumping as Clampett stays in the line. Take a look from Navarro's windshield as they start to queue up behind him.
Navarro, they're running just inside the top 5, but he's got a pack of hungry hippos for sure. Try and get around and try and get inside the top 5. Maybe go chase down Clampett, or I'm sorry, try to chase down Kerner or Frisch if they can.
Getting a little bit of argy-bargy for the Detroit One back machine. Clampett trying to get a poke around to the quarter panel. Starting to want to get around that 7 truck in sim. He's running out of laps to do so.
And see the guys there in the back of the pack, bunch of hungry hippos, 2 to 3 wide, trying to make as much room as they can there.
Oh, a bump and run. Navarro moved out of the way. Clampett bumps and runs him off the groove.
And this isn't going to work out at all. They're starting to finally get some racing in, but this is why we've seen a ton of cautions tonight. A lack of real racing. These guys have been eager to finally get a green flag running all night. And I mean, 25 laps to go. They're running out of time to get it. Navarro, a little bit of contact once again. And these guys definitely aren't playing nice.
Not so ever. Michael Bumgardner still trying to find a way around to the Conti truck. How they're starting to go. Now working into the battle as well as Nanny, who's picked up some damage this run.
Yeah, see that damage name of the game. You don't want to hit the wall too hard. You don't want to mess up your steering. I mean, this is prime time right here. You don't want to make a mistake now. You don't want to hurt the race truck. You don't want to hurt your racecraft.
How do you make the pass cleanly? That's going to be the big question. Navarro's in the wall. Now he's got some damage. Nanny trying to slide underneath him after that stack up, now pushing him up the track. Now they shove into the corner.
Yeah, definitely see the contact starting to heat up here. A lot of these drivers sitting here not really playing too nice to talk about how to make the pass cleanly. The simplest answer is you don't.
Caution. Another yellow flag. And split 1. The sparks continue to fly. It's Euro Shack of the Wall.
One of our winners from first time out in Chicagoland. This is definitely a flip of how race number 1 went for him.
Was battling with a teammate, Logan Helton, at the time. And so we are back under the caution. So we are, as we're under caution, do have our split 2 drivers standing on by. Why don't we take a couple moments here to speak with some of the drivers. Christopher Hill talking things over. You are your winner in split number 2 in a green flag to checkered race. Split 1 is still with about 30 plus laps to go. How does it feel to win split 2 of our broadcast coverage tonight?
I cannot believe we just did 120 laps green flag at this track. That was awesome.
Also, what was the prep like for Altus with what was a dominating run in that race, as replay being shown of the incident that just happened in split coverage still going on? What was the prep like, and in turn, how do you feel about the execution with a 1-2 for Altus?
Yeah, I literally couldn't have asked for anything more out of the car. Pfeffer and James and everybody at Altus put in a ton of work to make sure this thing could start up front and race up front. I mean, yeah, couldn't ask for anything else out of it. Ton of laps. It's good to see it finally pay off after Chicagoland.
Well, the payoff there indeed, but next time out, we're already approached the midway through the series, in fact, so far. Watkins Glen, how do you feel about road course racing?
I'll be shocked if I can back up what I did here, but if we can, just good solid points, obviously I'm going to have to lean on Pfeffer a lot for that, so yeah, just got to start clicking off points now. This was my big points game to get me back in after a terrible Chicago, so just got to start running consistently.
Well, congratulations once again on the win tonight, Chris.
Yep, thanks everybody at Altus, and the fireman Seth the Merchant for being on the box for this one since Tucker couldn't make it.
Christopher Hill coming away with the win tonight. Want to get some words in with him. So we're under caution. Still have a couple more moments here. Why don't we speak with the teammate there, Christopher Pfeffer? I believe he had a button set to make a quack like a duck coming in. But your team, swimming like ducks to the top 2. How does it feel?
Listen, man, first off, I got to say, I'm so proud of my buddy, Chris Hill. We've been putting in so much effort because when this build came out, we were terrible in this new truck. We had to put so much effort, him and I, into figuring out this new truck. And we both showed up to Chicago for round one of Road to Pro here. We both got junked, completely junked. We're like last place in points coming into this race, and we needed this bad, and we worked hard for it. I'm so happy right now that we got a 1-2. This is awesome.
Overall, though, what was the track feeling like with it going green the whole run? How tight was it on the gas to make it?
I ran out literally as I crossed the line. I tried saving early, but for some reason it didn't work out. So I ran out as soon as I crossed the line, pretty much.
Well, on that note, we'll let you get going. We are about to have a restart for Split 1. Thank you so much for the time, though, Mr. Pfeffer.
Yeah, I want to thank the fireman, Seth the Merchant.
Well, the fireman, Seth the Merchant, getting 2 shout-outs tonight. Oh, that's with 17 coming to 16 to go. We'll talk with Brian Mercurial as soon as possible here. Green, green, green. Agnell Phillip able to clear on by. Tech issues for Clampett, but that doesn't matter. The battle is on, more so for second.
That driver just trying to make up some lost ground. Navarro fell back a little bit there under that caution. Frisch, though, side by side for a second, trying to run that high groove up there by the wall, run the diamond line if he can to get the drive off. Not quite able to clear himself. Navarro shuffled off the track. They're going to be 3 wide coming off of turn 4.
Frisch able to clear 3 wide, heart of the field, including drivers like Navarro that trying to bounce back. Navarro seems to be slipping and slipping fast. McCandless with contact. A lot of shuffling and a lot of bobbling with less than 15 to go.
After less than 15 to go is the name of the game. Glad you said that, because it is go time for a lot of these guys. It's been go time all night, but it's already go time now. Michael P. Frisch able to hang on a second. Daniel Nanny there, and that 19 truck falls back to third a little bit. Slides right in front of Eddie Kern. A little bit of contact. They're going to stack up there. Clamp it in the wall as well. Some drivers getting some right side wear. Why not? You know, less than 15 laps to go.
Lots of time to think about a move, but drivers like Nanny look to try and get up to a race high second. Nanny pit on lap 74. Those tires have to be screaming. Those front 2 did not pit all race.
I mean, you guys sit there, just saw these guys in split number 2. They're able to go the whole way under green flag conditions. I mean, no fuel, no tires needed. At this point, some of these guys see that and they're like, hey, no, we don't need tires, we don't need fuel. And some guys might have tried that, but 6, 7 cautions later, who knows?
Sometimes it all equalizes out to the same pace. 3 wide yet again. Caden Rush trying to wrap the bottom. His Express Machine trying to work with Justin R. Smith. As well, Brad Wright is up there trying to keep out of trouble. He's been involved in 1 caution. Rush now goes 3 wide with McCandless instead, and Rebel as well.
That McCandless shuffles up into the wall there, 3 wide in the middle, 3 wide into the wall. McCandless in that white and red kind of throwback looking truck. Beautiful truck, I'll give him that, but trying to sneak inside the top 10 here. Currently, it's a couple spots shy, but things are starting to heat up here. See the number 6 truck getting shuffled out of line as well there, right in front. That's Caden Rush. Almost getting put in the wall, or putting Ballier in the wall.
Less than 10 laps to work with. It's time to get points where you can find them. And a lot of these drivers needing to be able to get points that we're starting to see up front. Drivers like Joshua Bellet. You have drivers like Jackson Crowder, Michael Baumgartner. Caution yet again. Another yellow flag. And we'll see where this one came from. As yet again, caution is out. Mitchell Hunt just got turned around in the Nexus truck.
Well, hopefully we don't get in the green-white checker territory, but I'm sure these guys are eager to use them up if they can.
A lot of bumper-to-bumper contact. And so, while we have the opportunity, as well, we'll show the replay and the cause of caution here. Self-explanatory, I think that's going to happen by the time we get to turns 1 and 2. But we do have Brian Mercurio standing alongside the 3rd place finisher from the other split. Well, Brian, you went green the whole run. What was going through your mind as the laps clicked away there and IRP for your race?
Well, Well, man, first off, that was shout out to everybody in this split here for keeping it green the whole way. I think everybody always appreciates having a race go green. A lot of fun once you get yourself dialed in. But yeah, knew it was going to be close on fuel. Didn't even start to think about that, honestly. I was like, if we get to like lap 60, maybe I'll start thinking about saving fuel. And then I got to lap 70, 80, 90, and kind of around lap 60, I started playing around with it and saw my fuel numbers were pretty good. And honestly, just kept running that pace the rest of the way. It was keeping the tires happy. I was holding great pace there, and relative to Pfeffer and Chris Hill was gone. Just clean air's crazy here, but holding on to Pfeffer there was pretty good, and Quentin was keeping me in check for the most part. So he fell off a little bit in like the last 15 to 20, but otherwise, just love when a race goes green. A lot of fun.
Overall, though, one of your teammates is in the conversation for the top three, I believe right now in Frisch. The speed seems to be there. What, in terms, is the confidence level like in the NFR camp, knowing the speed seems to be there tonight?
I got to say, Frisch has been ripping all week. Whether it was practice or qualifying, he was pretty much leading the charge for setting the pace for everybody. So to see him up there, absolutely not a surprise. Happy. I'm looking right now. I see Eddie up there right now. So. Great runs for them, or it's looking like it's going to be great runs for them. In our split, in my race, Shieldhouse got P8, Blaze got P10, so we had three of us up in the top 10, and then some of my former teammates in Chris Hill and Chris Pfeffer, we were 1, 2, 3, so in some regard, that's pretty cool to see the three of us. I was actually talking to the two of them earlier this afternoon, kind of getting a feeling for what tonight's race would be like. So to have us go 1, 2, 3, and then have two other NFR teammates in the top 10, race go green, bank some good points. Great night overall.
Once again, congratulations on the top three run here tonight, Brian. And now, of course, split one is still yet to finish, but technically you're the points leader at the moment for the next at least 10 minutes.
That's pretty cool. I'll appreciate that. I'll be popping in the results here into the spreadsheet. I know people like to look at drops. You can also look at the official points on the in the UI, but just really getting some good points. Chicagoland, I felt like I should have been a little bit better, but 12th place wasn't too bad for kind of the circumstances there. And then third tonight. So that's it. Just real quick, just want to give a shout out. Lead Performance Industries, racecpi.com. Everybody over at NFR, Frisch, Jarrett Liebert for absolutely busting his chops every single week here to build us some hot rods, whether it's on the Road to Pro or the Coke side. He's one of the main guys, but everybody else that's helped and chipped around, we really appreciate them. Fast iRacing Setup Shop. And yeah, everybody in the split for keeping it green. I was sick. A lot of fun tonight, and hopefully it's another good run in 2 weeks' time.
Hold on 1 second. Thank you very much for the time. We're under caution with trucks upside down in split one. On the restart with 3 laps to go, 2 to 3 competitors flipped upside down and into the walls.
Well, looks like Macori is going to be the point leader for just a little bit longer. As we got Robert Jr., Justin Smith, a couple other trucks into the wall, over the wall, and outside of the racetrack. I've heard of going to the hot dogs again, but how about going to the drag strip next door?
Ed in a rush took a wild ride. Smith obviously took several rides there. Garrison Hogan's hit the incident point for black flags. Matthew Batby has done the same. He has reached that 17 incident point threshold as well. Let's take a look as this brings us to green-white checker territory.
A 3 wide going through 1, 2. Starts up with McCandless, I believe. He's got Navarro in the 42. McCandless in that red and white truck. And happens actually right in between them. Navarro gets hooked, right turned. And I don't know what happened there. It seems to almost hit a hard spot in the wall. There is an opening there in real life, Justin. I don't know if that's in iRacing to be a hard stop on the outside wall there and those guys hit that, or what?
Yeah, there isn't the cutout there, but there definitely was some drivers cutting into each other right about here.
The opening's right there to see the opening kind of a little bit in the infield, and I don't think that had anything to do with it, but oh man, a lot of heavy, heavy damage. Oh, McCann does a good job for the most part getting around that after he makes the initial contact. Batby does not. And this is, if they had fast repairs, they'd definitely be using them right about now. Meanwhile, this is just chaotic everywhere.
Pure chaos in some circumstances. As here's a look once again, heart of the field. An absolute stack up in right into your windshield in the living room.
And nothing you can do at all in that regard. And Batby already with damage, hits another or hits the same truck for good measure, and then might as well finish it off.
Rabel Jr. also hit the incident mark for that as well. Here's McCandless.
There's some mechanics get hooked here into the wall. Head on Navarro. Navarro just disappears. Navarro just hit the wall so hard, he was gone. He just said, I'm not doing it no more. I'm out. I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, a lot of hard contact there. Navarro is one of the few to get a meatball flag from that incident, by the way. So, that leaves us with a couple to go in this race. And that leaves Daniel Nanny in second for the upcoming restart. Once again, if we get the white flag, it's a race simply to the checkered. If we get a caution before the white flag is out again, re-rack them and stack them. And we're getting ready for the restart. Philip, Nanny, Carter, Frisch, Bumgardner, Clampett, Jackson Crowder, Lane, your top 8. Top 10 includes Cucker and Ballett. Last time, Nanny had the best start from anybody up on the high side. What will happen this time with the pressure of a win on the line?
If we're going to be a high side here, we might as well do it now. Green flag getting to come back out in there. Agnell, Phillip, Daniel Nanny, front row. Restart Phillip with that advantage going into turn 1 already.
Phillip with a perfect launch. He tries to slam the door. Able to slow it up with Nanny. Able to clear for second just about. Battle is on more for second in the lead. Coming to a 1 lap to go. Couple droppers in the walls, but we will see the white. No, we will see caution. Wetzel got turned around to the heart of the field.
Inches away from Agnell Phillip, basically locking this one up, and Caden Rush for the second, I guess, restart in a row is I don't know if he's already missing his front bumper, but it is gone, destroyed, scrambled, and I don't think they're going to be reusing that truck anytime soon after this one.
Ron, the intensity level picked up a ton here, and Wenzel, who had been going backwards and starting outside front row, just got sent for a spin cycle and damage.
I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like the racing on that restart was as intense as it's been throughout the entirety of this race. There hasn't been a dull moment all throughout it, and here is a replay of that incident. The 43 truck, all kinds of sideways, heading through turns number 1 and 2. The 6 gets in the middle of that. You can see the truck on the outside nearly getting put on 2 wheels, rubbing up against that outside safer barrier. This has been a very hectic race. That's a tale of 2 races, really, compared to what we've had with this first split 1 that we're following the finish of, and split 2, which it feels like it ended about a half an hour ago. Just 2 completely different races, 2 different ends of the racing spectrum, and there is still a lot more that can happen, as that was a very close call. I think we may have had someone slam right into the pace car. And I feel like out of the chaos that we've had in this race thus far, the pace car is probably the one with the cleanest lick of paint in this entire field.
I mean, Agnell Phillips got some clean paint still, Braden.
You mentioned, ironically, too, Ron, the pace car's the only one with the clean chip of paint. Remember that first caution, the very first caution, someone about got wrecked by the pace car. I know they can drive through it, but someone got a little bit startled there. So far, I don't think anyone has a clean lick of paint. Probably the greatest looking truck out here would be the tow truck parked in the infield, and that's the one that has been picking up cars all night.
I'll tell you what, for the tow truck driver that has been picking up all the cars, he may walk out of this race and show up to the next one at Watkins Glen in 2 weeks' time in an Aston Martin or something like that, because he has definitely been getting a good payday considering how much he's been working all throughout this race.
I'm sure the pace car, sorry JP, I'm sure the pace car driver as well is probably starting to get cramps, and I don't know about you guys, I didn't see him put fuel in the pace car before the race. I know they were hot lapping a little bit before the race as well. This pace car might run out of fuel here in a little bit too.
Yeah, it's been impressive that some of these drivers up front have been able to stretch as long as they have so far. It could get a little bit more tighter on the fuel in a minute. And they go to 3 GWCs. We're already on our second attempt. The green one checker coming up. Bagnell Phillip has led basically this entire race so far tonight. 128 of 128, make it 129 laps coming up here. Now, this should be another one of those types of situations where we may see Phillip try and clear by turn 1. We've seen that happen a lot.
I see him getting ready to try a green-white checker attempt number 2. We got one more in the bank if we need it. Hopefully we don't, but the way this field and this race is going, I would not be surprised. Thankfully, we don't have unlimited.
Field in the hands of Bagnell Phillip. Coming up to the restart zone. Green flag, green flag. Nanny got it perfect. Can he keep it alongside for the lead? Nanny tries to send it hard high side. Phillip from the inside. 2x2 up front as Phillip can't slam the door shut. Nanny tries to squeeze down for the top.
The white flag out in there to see if they get there this time. Phillip, Nanny side by side for the lead. Phillip with that advantage coming off the line. They're going to get there. They're going to wreck across the line though. We're racing back to the checkered flag as the entire field wrecks. Piles up in turn 1 and 2 here.
Nanny hit the wall as well. Here comes Michael Frisch. Frisch tries to take away second from Nanny. Nanny looking for one more chance to get to the back end. Can't do so. Bagnell Phillip goes flag to flag to win it at IRP.
We got a couple trucks parked down here in turn 1 and 2. I think Frisch might have stolen second at the line. It was tight. A little bit of bumper love there. I'm going to assume that was in a congratulatory manner by Nanny. Baumgartner coming up too. Frisch giving a little bump. So absolute dominating performance by both the winners tonight. Hill and Phillip both go flag to flag.
And what can you say? If you start from the pole and have a good truck, you get some great pace down. And right now for Bagnell Phillip, he's going to be extremely happy with this one. Outright dominant. We've seen speed like this all throughout round 1. Round 2, it takes it up a notch.
I mean, you talk about coming out here, being able to perform, be able to dominate. I mean, prove that you deserve to be in Contender, prove you deserve to be in Coke, and it's moments like these dominating runs that say, yeah, I deserve to be there.
Remember, he is technically also with A51, someone that has had working experience with Altus and their team drivers. So this would be a split, or sweep rather, of the split, if you count it in that regard. Bagnell Phillip, once again your winner. He is absolutely burning it down with style.
Well, he's got the fuel to do it, unlike split number 2, so might as well go big or go home here.
Let's take a step aside. When we come back, the race results. You're watching iRacing social media platforms and Maconi Entertainment for coverage of the iRacing's eNASCAR Qualifying iRacing Series.
Want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to IRP for tonight's coverage of Road to Pro here on iRacing and Maconi Entertainment. Just Prince with you, Brandon Laster, Ron Mons with us. As let's take a look at the results. First for Split 1, Philip, Nanny, and Frisch were on your top three. Nanny got the edge in the scoring loops and by a couple hundreds over Frisch. Michael Baumgartner and Logan Clampett get top fives. Jackson Crowder, Ethan Lane, Matt Cucker, Blake McCandless, and rounding your top 10 tonight, Brad Wright. Closing out the top 10, he had a bit of a rough one, Braden. He still survived.
Ashton Slice able to bring it home in one piece for the most part there on the left. Mitchell Hunt in 12th, Ashton Crowder in 13th, Will Cooley in 14th, Nick Miller 15th, Garrison Hogan right there. Heck yeah, brother, he was in the wall and he's going to finish 16th. Logan Houghton in 17th, Eddie Kerner there in 18th, Santiago Tiras in 19th, and then you got Justin R. Smith there rounding out your top 20. Ron, I'm going to pass it to you for the rest of the field here.
Alrighty, here we go. Finishing this race in 24th is going to be James Wenzel in that number 16 truck. Matthew Morton is going to end up in 22nd. Jack Mace in 23rd. Caden Rush in 24th. Matthew Batby ends up in 25th. Then it's Nathaniel Landwehr in 26th. Connor Urasak, I probably butchered that pronunciation. He ends up in 27th when everything was said and done. We've got Chad McGinley in 28th. It's going to be Spencer Burns in 29th. That is going to be Ballier rounding out the top 30. Lots of these drivers ending up one lap down when everything was said and done. And here are some of the drivers that got taken out in collisions. Andrew Navarro from Florida ends up in 31st, 13 laps down in the number 7 truck. That's going to be Robbie Vabel Jr. from Canada. 14 laps down in the Chevrolet. Johnny Villa in 33rd, 20 laps down. Then we have Matthew Danson and Dustin Johnson ending up multiple laps down, rounding out your 35 cars that ended up being classified from what we expected and ended up getting was a very chaotic Split 1 race.
Split 2 was the opposite of chaotic. Let's take a look at those results here in a moment now, because that race went extremely calm. Well, Christopher Hill, Christopher Pfeffer first and second. Brian Mercurio did finish top 3. We already spoke with those drivers earlier tonight. Quentin Warman finished 6 seconds back of the winner in the top 4. Carson Bowers, good shout, got in 5th. Channing Ballou finished off in 6th. Kohler, Schildhaus, Hawk, and Blaze Crawford, your top 10, Braden.
Jake Madison there in 11th, Dylan C. Jones in 12th, Dalton England in 13th, Michael Van Abel in 14th, Kevin Chapin in 15th, Nate Stewart in 16th, Cade McClinney in 17th, Alexander Russell going to be 17th in their final truck on the lap, Jack Corner 19th, and David L. Brown rounding out those who finished on the lead lap. Joining the one lap down club, it's a very exclusive club here because we went green flag all the way, Max Brady, Sandra Nyhoff, Chris Overland, Nicholas Morse, Ryan Andrews, your top 25, JT Poole in 26. Trevor Huff on the Brett, and that's the face truck. I guess he needed more face in that truck. He's going to be 27th. River Hayes in 28th, Nick Olsen 29th, Dalton Milam in 30th, Ken 11 31st, Joe Armstrong in 32nd, Colton J. Harvey in 33rd, and Rocky Boyd after a career day at Chicagoland, he's going to bring it home dead last in 34th after, I believe, I went back and looked. He was late to the grid, had to start from the pits. I don't know if I had a connection issue or what. And then he was hoping for the caution, and Split 1 was hogging them off.
Well, that's a look talked about your run yours here tonight. Let's take an opportunity to speak with your front runners now from your first split of coverage tonight. As we get ready to swap over back to split one, Agnell Phillip took the win tonight, dominating fashion here tonight. Agnell, how does it feel to be a winner in round two?
Oh, it feels great. Feels great. You know, I've been doing this round two thing now for I think 4 years, and this is my fourth year, and I haven't been able to seal the deal. Come close a couple times, a few thirds and whatnot. So it's cool to be able to kind of seal the deal and lead kind of flag to flag. Had some stressful moments there, especially at the end, but really glad to be able to kind of bring it home for the guys over at A51 Pro and Lockdown Racing. Super happy. We put in a lot of work to make this happen. So yeah, I'm excited.
Now, believe in the past we've seen in series like RSR you had the partnership A51 with Altus. Did that switch recently? And if so, how does that partnership work with Lockdown? You mentioned.
No. Altus and us run just in that league together for the team championships, fixed setup.
Gotcha.
So don't really have to coordinate too much for that. But we've been working with the Lockdown guys now for 3 years. We're able to get some guys into Coke last year. I missed it by just a few spots, but it's been a really great partnership. I really do feel like from where we were 3 years ago, kind of with middle kind of the pack, maybe slightly above average sets, to now having some of the best sets in the field every single week. I mean, it's a testament to the work everybody puts in, and super happy with kind of what we've been able to do this year and the success we've been able to have.
Well, once again, Agnell, congratulations on the victory tonight. You get it done here at IRP.
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate it.
Agnell Phillip coming away with the win tonight. Daniel Nanny standing by with Brandon Laster. He finished in second.
And Nanny, you survived the onslaught of 11 cautions, 55 caution laps. You started all the way back in 22nd, brought it home second though tonight. Talk us through how your race went.
I don't know how I did it. When I started in 22nd, qualified 22nd, I was honestly nervous because I knew it's going to be a lot of cautions. People are going to be a little greedy, and they don't know give and take. They just a lot of points on the table due to Pocono not being ran 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I just figured if I got twist tires and all that, I'd be able to make my way for the field, and it worked. I don't know how, but it worked.
Yeah, talking about having to work for it for sure. You had that drag race there for second with Michael P. Frisch, and I'm not gonna lie, I thought Frisch got you, but it was just 200ths of a second across the line and a little bit of contact there. Do you think about using the front bumper, moving Phillip or Agnell Phillip there out of the way, or were you content with the podium finish there?
I was just trying to survive there at the end. I got loose throughout those 2 laps in the green light second, so my tires were a little hot, and if I would finish third, I would have been fine with that, but I'm happy I got second out of that.
Yep, and then looking forward, you got Watkins Glen coming up. Are you ready to turn right?
I'm going to need a lot of practice left. But, yeah, I feel like we're good at Watkins Glen. We got a lot of good guys on Michael, and I feel like we can cook up something pretty decent, and if I put enough time in practice, then I'd be able to make a run for big money.
Yes, sir. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and I'm sure we'll see you on the podium or maybe even victory lane near soon.
Thank you.
Once again, Daniel Nanny coming away second spot tonight. Third spot tonight went the way of Michael P. Frisch. He's with Ron Mons.
Alrighty, Michael Frisch, thank you for joining us in the commentary booth. And I got to imagine that being here in the commentary booth is probably the most calm piece of real estate you've been in all night. Talk us through a very dramatic race tonight at IRP.
Yeah, I mean, started the green flag, rolled off P6 and immediately start jumping guys up to P3, and I was looking at the leader's back bumper before I knew it the whole entire race, and we got a little bit of a green flag run there till about lap 40, and that was really, I wouldn't say the pivoting point of the race, but where you kind of either you're gonna gamble, come in, take tires, or you're gonna stay out and ride what you got. And honestly, with how important clean air is compared to dirty air, sit in P2, it didn't even cross my mind to pit there. So we were pretty much set on staying out the whole entire time on the set of tires we had. But I got to Agnell a couple times. I got to his right rear once. I was able to time a restart really, really good on him. And I think we had a little bit of net cut going into one. I mean, this is a really hard track to race side by side, especially in later stages. Everyone's going for everything, especially when we're 1-2. And we kind of just been playing games with each other on the restarts all night. So you kind of learn a few things from people and you try to remember stuff. But we just had a little bit of netcode set me up into the wall. And just at that point, I kind of knew my chances were over. The tires were going. And when you kind of have less fuel in the truck, it just gets really, really, really tight on you. So we got really tight there in the green white checkered, so I was just pretty much holding on to my own, and Superman on 4 tires coming out of nowhere, Daniel Nanny with the strategy of a lifetime came up there and sweeped up and almost had the win, but we'll settle for P3 here, especially with no Pocono and that's everyone's drop week, so bump out those consistent top 5 finishes and look forward to Contender.
Yeah, still a very good showing from you tonight. Now, it's going to be 2 weeks' time until the Road to Pro Series returns at Watkins Glen. Far, far different than what we had here at IRP. So how do you think that race is going to be in about 2 weeks' time?
Well, with the new truck and the new build, it'll be, I wouldn't say that much different, but it'll be different with the grip levels and all that. But a couple of guys in the series, we ran that back in 2021, I think, for Road to Pro second round, and I was fortunate enough to make it. So I have some past experience here running at Watkins Glen, and I know how bad the dirty air is. Pretty much where you started is where you finished, because getting to someone's back bumper was nearly impossible. So that race will be pretty much all about strategy. Either the undercut, overcut, that's on you to decide where you're running. But I actually like these next couple races coming up because it kind of separates with this truck now the people that actually put in time compared to nobody learning what to actually put in laps. It definitely shows. So I really like the truck now. iRacing nailed this new build with the truck. So it's really, really fun to drive. But I'm yapping too much. I just wanted to thank my guys, North Force Racing, Bar Visuals, and all my guys on North Force, obviously. Libby, Blaze, Max, Brian, Eddie, who unfortunately got taken out there at the end. But can't thank those guys enough because I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And we're only going forward because we're chasing wins every week, it seems like. So we'll knock off that win for us. But other than that, we'll settle for the podium.
Well, I think you took the words right out of my mouth there, Michael. I was about to ask you if there's anyone you wanted to give a thanks to or shout out, but you got that squared away, and I didn't even have to ask you the question. But, Michael, thank you for joining us in the commentary booth. Well done on the P3 result tonight, and excited to see you back on track in the not-too-distant future. Thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you.
Once again, that's Michael P. Fresh grounding our top 3 discussions. I'd like to thank him and the rest of our top 3 for speaking with us during post-race coverage here on iRacing Maconi Entertainment. Ron, I'll start off with you. Your final thoughts on what we've seen tonight.
Well, I'll tell you what, for this being my first ever time in this Road to Pro series, I have to say, I am thoroughly impressed. It was action-packed from start to finish. You had 2 different races, one which was broken apart about as much as slamming an old keyboard into a brick wall, the other one which was strategy-filled, went green the entire time. 2 entirely different races, but 2 races that were incredibly exciting, and it just shows you the great action that we have pretty much every single week on Maconi Entertainment, and Watkins Glen in a couple of weeks' time is going to be intense. But as for the races that we had tonight, awesome stuff, exciting to watch, and I was really happy to be a part of it.
What about you, Braden?
I was sitting there looking at that split number 1 result and throughout the points, Brian Mercurio able to come himself with the points lead for a little bit, but Agnell Phillip going to inherit the points lead, especially that win tonight in a 4th place in Chicagoland, has a decent points lead already, so he is sitting pretty for sure. But I mean, you look at the schedule coming up. It's going to be exciting, it's going to be fun, and it's going to be interesting to see how these guys start to duke it out. You got Washington, Milwaukee, Rockingham is going to be a real fun one for these guys to try and tackle, and then end it all at Homestead. Man, I am sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for these guys to try and race these.
Gonna be an exciting one to say the very least when we go to the Glen on August the 8th. Bit of road course racing going left and right next time out. On that note, we'll see you then at 8 p.m. We go racing on August the 8th. Both splits will be in action at 8 o'clock to be able to see who comes away on top in New York State. On that point, we'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's action. A shout out to iRacing and the Maconi Setup Shop, your sponsors for tonight. I'd like to thank them for their support in this series and more. Also, after a night of intense action, it's time to wrap things up. Calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince, alongside Brendan Laster and Ron Bonds. Christian Hill and DJ Lyon was our producing staff. Shane Monday was our social media guy for tonight. Thanks to our viewers for watching tonight's action. Hope you stay tuned to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for bringing this racing to you tonight. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time when we go racing from the Glen.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.